that keeps the chip on my shoulder. That keeps me grounded, is knowing that even though I think I'm doing my best, there's still some people who don't respect me. So I keep waking up and fighting.
From CNR JUTA De BEER, imini umsindisi wesiko, umvelisi emnqango umelisi wesizwe, formerly known as Lwazi Madonsela, bringing you a show about creative entrepreneurs live from the landmark that not only birth SA street culture but also formalizes street hustle. On today's episode we have Samurai Farai, umsindisi wesiko, umvelisi emnqango special edition, Tomzi Mcelo Kisamba Nonina. Oh my God, he really did that. Oh my God, he really got him on a pod. Oh my God, who's that right there? When you hear the craziest thing, oh, we got Samurai Farai in studio. Samurai Farai in studio. Don't forget the Samurai.
Samurai Farai, please. If we ain't friends, don't call me Farai.
Don't call me Farai. And he's very stingent on, don't call me Farai.
Yes, sir.
Samurai to you.
Yes, sir.
The first samurai from Kez.
Yeah. They don't know that.
Yeah. So I was chilling. Homie hits me on the DM. He always watches the show. Yeah. Like, yo, Samurai Farai. I'm like, Samurai Farai, I've heard that name. Mm-hmm. I'm like, oh, I remember I saw you do something in 99 Juta.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, this is dope. Then now I'm like, okay, I'm a nerd. So if you tell me about anything, I don't like arguing without facts. So now I'm sitting. Okay, let's hear how this guy speaks. I hear him. And this guy speaking, he's talking that talk, man. Mm-hmm. He's like, yo, I have a residency right now. I used to have a residency. I was a curator. I have a restaurant that's also a gallery.
Yeah.
I've collaborated brand B, brand C, brand D.
Yeah.
I've had amazing shows. Yeah. I sold out my final year showcase.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? We need him on the show. It's no longer a want right now.
We do.
How you feeling today?
Man, like I said, really blessed, overwhelmed with gratitude, because I think this is going to be a wonderful platform for me to give people some insight into who I am.
Yeah.
And that for me always makes me ecstatic, you know. I really thrive off of inspiring people around me.
Yeah. Now I get you, man, but please explain the artist residency for the next kid, because I can paint, I can draw, I've been doing this thing. What's an artist residency? How do we get it?
So the traditional way of acquiring an artist residency would be to go via an institution. So let's say either one like UCT or an art school in Amsterdam, or maybe let's say a museum. But then again, those residencies obviously create an opportunity for you to be taken seriously in a professional level by the world. But then again, you're still bound by the institution. So don't forget that. The residency that I performed and that I completed last year was with a hotel brand named Black Brick. So that was a very alternative way of kind of acquiring the residency, because I had to go show up, tell them that I have an idea and a vision for what this place can be and what I see for it being in the future. And I think that a lot of kids right now don't know or aren't being told to go out and find those opportunities to create them. You know, they're kind of being told to wait. But yeah, I basically lived in this hotel from January till December, completed over 45 murals in that hotel specifically, curated visually the interior of over 40 rooms, and then went on to acquiring budget and financing from the people that own the company to complete the restaurant/gallery.
This is a restaurant gallery inside Black Brick.
Yes, it's the basically the food and beverage extension of the hotel in Cape Town. You know, but I feel like that was really smart, because it kind of ensured foot traffic instead of just being like another cafe, restaurant, alternative space that you kind of have to depend on people to kind of enter.
Yeah.
You know, we always had guests, which was great.
Damn. So here's my thing, right?
Yeah.
I'm getting a residency. As you've said, you can approach an institution, approach a gallery, approach a hotel group.
Yeah.
How do you even price when you're doing 45 murals?
Damn.
Because also
a great question.
On their side, they're like, yo, you're living here for a year.
Yeah. No, I think you see, with that residency, everything kind of had to be ironed out piece by piece. There wasn't really a initial number or goal that we were going to work with. You know, first we said, let's do 3 months of you here and see how that goes. 3 months went phenomenally, turned into 6. 6 turned into 9, and 9 turned into 12. So kind of like what you were saying, we were looking at each part of the residency in 3 months. So that was also very interesting for me because I've only started using, spray paint in that sense in the past 2 years.
Yeah.
People refer to me a lot as a street artist or a graffiti artist for some reason, but I think it's because they see me more being on the street with people, not necessarily because I'm tagging or doing the most phenomenal graph like African Ginger or all these amazing people you see around us. My style is a lot more on the ground and a lot more relatable.
Yeah.
But pricing was very trippy, and what I recommend for young people to do is find mentors, find people who you admire, approach them in a professional, respectful way, and learn from them. Because I think as soon as people get out of school and they get their degree, they think, okay, I'm ready. Put me in the big leagues. I know what I want. You don't know what you want. You don't know how to do what. You don't even know what to do what you want. So you actually have to find someone who's been out of the game for years and who is creating and trailblazing a path that you want to kind of be influenced by. One of my biggest influences is Atang Chikare and Siwa Mkoboza, and one is a sculptor, one is a printmaker, but these people, the way they approach the game is unlike anything you've ever seen.
Yeah.
And that's where I'd go to say, okay, how do I price this? Because necessarily you don't want to get a cash cow and then only have to work once with these people. You have to work smart, especially being young and black and you have that opportunity. I always make sure I cover my expenses. I always make sure I cover my time and labor, and I always make sure I get enough for myself. But I'm not trying to catch this.
Not trying to buy a Porsche with it.
Yeah, this 4-digit check and then just not work for the rest of the year. I'd rather set myself up in such a way where I create quality work. It's not necessarily affordable, but you understand that you're paying for quality, and then you pass me over as a recommendation first thing in your mind because I'm easy to work with and I provide quality. I think people always expect quality to be inaccessible. And that's not true. That's why I love to show people quality garments that I make myself, because it doesn't have to be expensive to be quality. It just has to be authentic, That's how I feel. And I see a lot of expensive things that aren't authentic in this country.
Here's my follow-up question. What's your artist narrative? Because now we've established that you're good at it. You've gotten a residency for it. You've done collabs with it. But what's the story you're actually trying to tell? Because I feel like we're all placed on this earth to tell a story. Some through our craft, some through our voices, some through our experiences.
Yeah.
What's your narrative when you're creating art?
Great question again. Shout out. All of these are very great. I guess at the bottom, at the core, really the message and the intention of my journey is to inspire, is to be the person that I wish I saw when I was younger. And to dive deeper into that now, we look at the specificities of what you see in my art, or kind of the foundations of those things, or the composition. So things like identity, not in the racial sense, but in the personality sense, in the mental health sense, when we really consider what identities do we harbor underneath our skin and how many do we have? How many different levels of facades, faces, and versions of ourselves do we have? So I think the narrative is always to encourage vulnerability, to encourage the normalization of not being okay and having these emotions or facades in yourself that you don't understand, because it took me a while to understand that kind of mission. It's a very long story as to how I got there. I was stuck on a boat for 4 months during COVID, and mental health became the priority, and the only way I could keep myself above water, excuse the pun, was by drawing and sketching and making art. And then I realized, damn, if this is keeping me alive, then surely I can share this to the world and have it do the same. So, I came back, and I wasn't even working as a professional artist that time. I was still in hospitality, managing bars and wine places. And, then I realized once I quit and put my foot on the pedal that I want anybody that sees my work to feel that they can be vulnerable with themselves and those around them,
With everything you're talking about, I'm realizing a pattern.
Yeah.
You're always at the forefront of what's happening around you. It's either you're curating, you're always in a leadership role.
Yeah.
But those are things you're born with, but those are things you also study. How important was a formal education for you, knowing that you went to UCT and got a full scholarship to study?
Yeah.
How important is that for a creative kid? Because some people, it's like, you're nice with it in high school, everyone fucks with your shit. You're not really sure, are you supposed to go further with the education and art? Or must you just get a law degree and still do your art?
I completely agree. It was really, there was no other option for me in terms of occupation. But one thing we all need to understand is that a young black child in this country doesn't see themselves as an artist in 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
There's no version of that other than, the people that came in the early 90s or in the 80s that, somebody born in like 96 like myself could look up to and be like, damn, I wish I could just follow those footsteps. The only reason it was incredibly important for me to acquire the formal education is because of words that my grandmother were literally pumping into me. And the one thing she was always reminding me is that the world is going to take so many things away from me, but the one thing they can't is my education. And that sat with me because of my subjective values I have with my family. I don't necessarily believe it's for everyone, but that for me gave me the confidence to say I did something that could never be taken away from me, even though I hated it, even though I argued and fought and wanted to set that place on fire every day, but I got through it, and the reason why I sold out my grad show is because I didn't follow the rules. I wasn't getting the best marks, but then I realized, why must I worry about the marks if people in the world are going to travel to come and buy my work? Necessarily your lecturers aren't the people paying for your rent when, shit hits the fan, when you have expenses and you have to look after your family. It's not your lecturers coming to support your work, and I realized that at a very, very early stage.
How do you separate the art from the artist? Because there's Farai Engelbert, and then there's Samurai Farai. But then also, we caught in a space where your social media, your lifestyle represents your art also, because that's what the artist does. Yeah. How are you separating the two?
I think, a lot of people ask me where does Samurai Farai come from, and it was originally born out of it was a creative project that ended up being and leading to my creative pseudonym. A lot of my favorite musicians have creative pseudonyms. If you think of Mos Def,
that's stage names for people who don't know.
King Cruel, JID, and for me, I was always music was at my heart, and I was always like, why, if I want to be an artist, am I going to use my government name, and I was like, this pseudonym is going to help me separate when people give me attention because of my creativity and when they give me attention because of my values and my ethics and who I am. So the person, Farai Engelbrecht, where he is he's safest at home. That's when the walls come down and that's when the vulnerability is in. But nobody really comes to my house unless I want you there. Outside in the world, because you can't control how people are going to talk about you, how people are going to interpret you, I kind of use my creative pseudonym as a protective layer, so it's as much as I love to connect with people and you can catch me on the road and we can chat, like I'm not on some weird don't not talk to me vibe. Yeah, I love talking to people and meeting fans and seeing young kids like recreate my art, like that really makes me so happy. But I had to separate like Farai Engelbrecht and create Samurai Farai because Samurai Farai was the superhero that I always wanted to be. Farai Engelbrecht is the son, the brother, the granddaughter, the grandson, and I like that. I like not confusing that. It's very important for me.
Yeah. How do you repackage your art into design? Because now it's like you were telling us the story when you were painting. You were Samurai Farai.
Yeah.
And then you had to switch and advance that to become, the human. And then you were telling your story, your experiences. That's what inspired you. And now you're advancing that.
Yeah.
And you're turning it into clothes. You're turning it into a collab with TFG.
Yeah.
How do you do that?
I don't think it's something that I try to do. I think it's something that has always naturally been a variable of my creativity. The first time I exhibited clothing that I drew on or painted on was in my second year of university. I was like 19 years old. There was nobody that I saw doing it except like really, like even on the internet before shit was blowing up with Kid Super and George Condo and Travis Scott doing these collabs. I didn't see anybody putting like this on clothes.
Yeah.
So it was just so natural to me because I was like, why must people go to galleries to see art?
So you're really like a son of Keith Haring.
Oh, hell yeah. I was like, yo, if we in the street and I have the opportunity to show you something creative on my body just in jail, I'm going to take that and I'm just going to know that I'm doing the world a favor. So it's like people keep waiting to get told what's cool to do. Like people are so afraid to just like do something that they want to see done. So I just did that, exhibited it. My lecturer was like, yo, dude, this is a bit confusing. Nobody's going to understand this, but it's different. So keep doing it. And, now 2023, we're releasing furniture. We're releasing household objects that are going to now coexist in that reality behind closed doors that people don't get to see you in, carpets, rugs, curtains, linen. And that's just, for me, just another way of like adding that beautification onto our lifestyles. I think it's so natural because why should art, be transfigured into design? Design is art and art is design. Like they both coincide. I don't think that they exist exclusively from each other, and I think we see that through like the likes of Virgil Abloh, and even Esther Mahlangu. It's crazy what we can do.
It's phenomenal. Talking about Esther Mahlangu, when I saw the Benz collab, I literally said, "Oh, that's the Batmobile. That's the Samurai Mobile."
Yeah.
How did that feel? Because like that's presidential. It's an official Mercedes-Benz project that you guys did.
That was insane.
And it's not just the cheap line Mercedes-Benz.
No. It was the C-Class, baby. Brand new C-Class. It was surreal, from the get-go, because when they approached me, we pretty much had like a 3-week timeline. And that week, because it was February, in that 3-week timeline, had to execute my live collaboration at Juta Street with Relay. So we were doing the auction on the denim, doing murals here for Relay, and then still putting together the preparations for this whole Iyetu thing. I had to design like 600 scarves for all the guests, the invites, the logo, and then still paint the car in a week.
So the part we saw was just, that's the topic.
Yeah, you guys literally just saw the sauce at the top. One of the most stressful projects and anxiety-inducing projects I've ever had, but one of the most fruitful. Because it was kind of like, as soon as they hit me up, I was like, damn.
How do they hit you up? I'm curious. How does Mercedes-Benz hit you up?
It's because we kind of, like, realistically, people want to deny it or not, the creative world and all industries really rely on nepotism. It's about who you know. It's not necessarily all the time about who you are. So let's say, for instance, if I know the creative director or the DP that Mercedes are going to use, and they say to the creative team, who do you guys think will really do well if we let them paint on a car? And then, like, I'm not in the conversation, and a few people that are familiar with my work say, Samurai Farai. That's how it happened. I got hit up with an email from the agency that they were working with, and they were like, would this be something you would be interested in? And I literally, like, dropped my phone on the floor and, like, jumped around for a bit.
Can I interrupt you?
Yeah, please.
This is a fucking milestone.
Yeah.
For you, for any creative, in fact, for any person.
Anybody.
when these milestones hit you, how do you stay grounded? Because in my head, it's like Mercedes-Benz gave me a car, I painted a car, I did shit for Mercedes-Benz. Talk to me a bit different, like lower your tone.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would have thought that would have happened to me, but it didn't. I think because, you know, first and foremost, that was a milestone that I didn't see anybody do that I have every right to be proud of.
Yeah.
You know, that's that one thing that people don't like to do. They don't want to feel proud because now my head's big. I'm so proud because I did that and I achieved that and I did it by myself. You know, I wasn't spoon-fed. But however, I'm so still envious of so many other people. I still feel that I'm leading and catching up to certain people. There's no doubt that I consider myself top 3 artists in this country, and I can say that. But it doesn't mean that there aren't people in this country who don't take me seriously, even though I've painted a Mercedes. And they don't take me seriously, even though I raise money for the South African Anxiety Group and Depression. You know, they'll take me seriously when they see my art in a professional gallery or in a museum, which that keeps the chip on my shoulder. That keeps me grounded, is knowing that even though I think I'm doing my best, there's still some people who don't respect me. So I keep waking up and fighting, because I ain't gonna stop. I'm so angry with like the game, bro. I'm not stopping.
I get you, man.
For real.
Your love for music then leads you to shit-talking South African album arts,
Yeah.
of which I get.
Yeah, 100%.
What's the Aries relationship like? Because now when I figure out who you are, then I backdate and I'm like, oh shit, you did my favorite Aries project album art. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You really that guy?
That also happened.
Because it's like, oh, you're great in your own sphere, but you can also make other people look great. How was that for you?
That was such a great project, man. That was one of my favorite collaborations, and shout out to the homie for trusting me as well with like that anchor, because it really, like, his music really like affects the culture. Like I was actually so unaware of how large his influence was. I was ignorant as hell. Like,
happens to the best of us.
No, it was crazy. It was bad. Like, I'll tell the story to the public. I was like chilling with some homies. It was a Thursday. We're out drinking, and I get hit up by the homie, and he's like, "Yo, dog."
The homie's Aries.
Yeah, young Basquiat. I'd really love for us to talk, and potentially you doing the cover for TTMF. And I'm like, I don't pay it mind because I'm out. You see, so now I'm like chilling with the homies, and I'm like, just to the homie, yo, dog, by any chance, do you know Aries? He looks at me, he's like, the rapper. I'm like, yeah. He's like, why? I'm like, because he just DM'd me about some work. And then the nigga went crazy. And then, yeah, man, it happened. And I guess that was kind of the bridge that I needed to show the youth and the culture that South African hip-hop and South African visual art, are pretty much the same thing. It's just, we're just composing with different things. I compose with color and brushes and line and strokes, and homies compose sonically, with notes. But when we create the bridge across those dynamics, it's so beautiful. I spent because I obviously had the tape before,
7 months
before.
Clean.
Exactly. So I pretty much spent, close to half a year just sitting, listening to this shit, and getting into that headspace. And yeah, man, it was so emotional, but so motivational.
You do realize that the album that you did the cover for, the mixtape, is essentially his equivalent of My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, because that's post losing his pops.
Yeah.
And then you like the George Kondo for him, as was TA.
I didn't think of it like that. I didn't think of it like that, no lie.
It was just like, yo, this is happening. We're right here, let's roll.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I don't know if is the cam on?
Yeah.
You good? Okay. I never thought of it like that, dude, because I wasn't in that headspace, dude. I was still working 6 days a week behind the bar. It was...
this is when you're on the ship.
No, this is after the ship. I came back from the ship late, when COVID happened that year. But then this was like, bro, I would even say beginning of last year, the December before. You know, I didn't consider myself somebody who would be recognized at that level at all. I didn't have the self-respect as an artist at all. Like when he asked me to do the cover, I was like, sure, firstly, this is a check and the world is going to see this. And I was more obsessed with communicating what I was feeling into a visual composition. I wasn't thinking about what was going to happen when it released, you know. But then when it did, and like I got like my following quadrupled in like a month, I was like, wait a second, like I'm getting like 2,000 followers a week. Like
I need Aries on here.
Yeah, I was like,
Come
yo,
quadruple the side, Aries.
Yo. But I was like, you know, shout out to the homie for like, I'm working with people that aren't in like that light, and like that opportunity like really put me on.
Yeah.
And I think not put me on in the sense where it showed people that I deserve it. It was just like, oh, somebody did it. Somebody did it now, you know, and I did it before anybody else did it.
Yeah.
So now I get to say that, because if people are going to do it now after me, I know that I started it, and I started it with the best.
Yeah.
So in hindsight, yeah, I guess I am the essay version of George Condo, but that homie and Basquiat are my biggest influences.
And Keith Haring.
And Keith
Because
Haring.
you just be mass distributing your art.
Yes. Yeah, really, man.
I'm an art nerd, sorry.
Thank you. No, I love it, bro. I love it.
For me, I'm sitting down and we create this podcast called CNR JUTA DE BEER to celebrate all the homies that was inspired by here or lived down here.
For sure.
Because when you think about SA street culture, as a kids boy, you know what BRAAM
we
is.
were running around, yeah.
What's BRAAM? What's your best memory of BRAAM, or what inspired you from BRAAM?
I think as a young kid, you know, Braamfontein was very much an escape for us. It wasn't necessarily what it is now, but it was a space to kind of go somewhere, dress how you wanted to dress, do what you wanted to do with your hair or nails, and hang out with people that were like-minded like you. You know, so essentially, I'm so happy that it's developed and evolved into an accentuation of that being that it was, because it's so important to have that. It's so important for young kids to come and be around other young kids like them, you know, because the whole world has its, and South Africa has its pockets of people, you know, and this place really for me was just represented like a sense of freedom and a place to go where you didn't have to be told what to do and how to behave, which also led to a lot of crazy nights, as you can imagine. But yeah, Braamfontein always had a special place in my heart and still does, you know. That's why we like come here 3 times a week and all the homies are here. It's a safe space to me.
Samurai Farai,
My G.
what's your word to the youth?
My word to the youth. Man, lots of people say a lot of things. Lots of people are going to say a lot of things, and it's not going to stop. So the sooner you deal with that, the sooner you deal with the hate and the doubt and the insecurity, the better you'll be. The stronger you make your skin, the younger you are, the better you'll be. You know, I think a lot of people depend or are trying to manifest and attract like instant gratification. And I'm in a place now where I need people to know that instant gratification can sometimes kill you. You know, if you want something that you can't handle too soon in your life, it can really do more destruction than construction. So word to the youth, be patient, take your time, work hard, and get used to being told no. And when they tell you no, show them that you'll do it without them, my G, because the amount of times and the amount of galleries that have told me no, if I stopped doing what I was doing after the 15th no, where would I be? I'm still being told no. And I'm still gonna be told no. You know, it's crazy. And you know, sometimes young kids need to understand, if you're gonna follow this path, you're gonna become your idol's competition. And you need to be ready for that.
Talk that talk.
Feel me? You really need to be ready to be your idol's competition. Because
Do idols become rivals?
No. That's a choice. That's
Yeah.
a choice. You know, I think a healthy competition is healthy. You know, because like I think it's like you're not my rival just because you do what I do, or just because we're in the same line of field. We're not rivals, but competitors maybe. Friends, but no, I don't like that word rival. It's too negative for me. But I think competitors is a good one, because you'll realize that when you become somebody's idol, they're coming for you. Trust me. That's why I look at these kids like this. I'm like, yeah, I know you want this. I know you want my spot. I know you want my spot. But you gotta work for it.
Samurai Farai. Like and subscribe.
Yes,
if you're on
sir.
Spotify, give us that 5-star. If you're on Apple, give us that 5-star. Samurai Farai and Kona Juta De Beer. Oh,
Yes,
before
sir.
we leave, what keeps you going?
Shoo! Great question. What keeps me going is working out regularly. I have to get my heart rate up. I have to be in an isolated space where I'm just like working with my body. You know, what keeps me going is the fact that I still see so much in the world that doesn't exist that I know I have the opportunity to create. You know, what keeps me going is I wouldn't even say like the people around me or what I see in the world. I think what keeps me going is just this drive to be a pioneer. You know, to show people that I'm gonna do things without following rules, and it's still gonna be beautiful.
Samurai Farai, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for coming to the show.
Much love, King. Thanks for having me.
Kona Juta De Beer, Samurai Farai. Thank God for the savings.
Yes, sir. That was tight.
That was tight.